Hey guys, it's Hey Sophia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial video on how to build a realistic Japanese temple garden in Minecraft. You do not have to build every aspect of this garden. I'm just building quite a large one here to show you lots of little things that you could do. This is quite a long video, it is 31 minutes long. If you don't want to watch the whole video, that's completely fine. Just please watch probably about the first 5 minutes so you can understand all the essential things that you should be doing in a garden, and you'll see also a few ideas on how you can build different trees. So I've got a gap to the right there of the path, and I'll go into detail later of how to be building curvy paths like I have. But first, there are 5 essential things that you should have in any Japanese temple garden that you are building. The first one, which is the big major one, is water. As you can see in my build here, I've got a pond, I've got a cascading waterfall, and I've also got a stream. If you're building any kind of Japanese temple garden, you want to make sure you're having one of these aspects. And if you aren't having a water source, the next thing you want to be doing is building a sand area. If you've ever seen Japanese Zen gardens, they have the sand with the raking in that. That's actually meant to represent water. So when you don't have a flowing water source in a garden, you will find sand, and that is called a dry garden. So if you want to be even more realistic, you should be putting your streams going from east to west, I believe, which is what I've done in my video here, or going north to south. But that's completely up to you. You don't have to. I'm just understanding and explaining to you what you can do. So the second one is bridges. You'll find lots of little bridges in Japanese gardens. The third is garden architecture. So I've built a little tea house in mine. Down the bottom right corner, you'll find buildings in the temples all the time. The fourth is trees and even plants in general. Japanese temple gardens have got quite a variety of different trees and shrubs that you do have in them. Just remember that even though they look very organic and it's like they've just pruned them where they are, every tree, every plant, every shrub has been specifically put there for a reason, because it looks aesthetically pleasing. So even though they look very organic and it looks like they're just pruning them where they've been put there because it looks good. So you want to kind of be replicating that with your garden. And the fifth most important one is rocks and sand. You want to be kind of including those in your garden as well. Obviously, if you've got a dry garden, you've got sand down pat. So as you can see, I've already done most of the terraforming for my build. Terraforming is quite easy. If you would like me to explain how to terraform better and how to do it more naturally, I can actually do a video in the future on how to do that. Right now I'm just going to quickly show you how I do my pathways. Like I said in my cottage garden tutorial, I very quickly just roughly go and break the blocks, and then I'll join them up all together. I'm making this path here too wide and I'm using gravel. Because my sand areas in my temple garden are sand, I don't really want to be using sand for my pathways and then sand for my garden areas. You'll find a lot in Japanese temple gardens they will use gravel, so that's what I'm using. So as you can see, also around my border there, I've just used a mix of cobblestone and stone to make a riverbed edging. So that's just another detail you can do if you want to make your lake and your rivers just a little bit more realistic. So what I'm building now is a kind of like a U-shaped tree that you see in the gardens over there. You'll notice that a lot of the trees are kind of bending over with their branches, so that's what I'm trying to replicate here. You just want it looking very natural. You'll also see that I will be putting some oak fencing underneath as a support system. If you look up any temples online and the images in Google Image, if you want to be really specific and see some good examples, look up a temple called Heian Shrine, I believe. It's Heian. It's in Kyoto. But they've got some really good examples of the cherry blossom trees and things like that, which are actually being supported on these bamboo fencing that they put up under the trees to help support them. You also find that they might be in the leaves, so you can do something like this in the leaves to kind of make it patchy, looking like there's lots of support in there. I'm not going to do that for my tree. So just with the leaves, the way I like to do it, I will build my branches and then I will put the leaves all over the outside of my branches. I then will kind of like join the leaves together in a U shape amongst the branches like I'm showing here. And then I kind of go up and down with my leaves to kind of make it look natural. If it's looking quite flat underneath once you finish yours, I like to go underneath and just click and remove a couple of the blocks so it kind of looks uneven underneath the tree. If you leave a gap in the ceiling, that's fine, just put the block back and then just keep going until you get more dints that are covered by the leaves up the top. The other thing you want to be doing is you'll notice it'll look quite square and right angle against the building. So like I showed in the cottage garden tutorial, you can actually cut into the staircase that I've got next to there, and then it'll just kind of look like the tree is growing over the roof tiling. Okay, so I'm going to be skipping ahead now. I will be putting a few of these trees around the water side and also a big one right in front of the entrance to the left of me there. I've shown you how to do one. You can just replicate it the same around the lakeside using spruce and other wood and other leaves as well. I'm just showing you how to do a different style tree, which you can see in the right hand corner there. You simply want to go 2 blocks up and then 2 up and then 1 up, kind of on an angle, and then you want to be making the leaves in kind of a circular shape on each level. As you can see, it looks like a very nice trimmed tree that is meant to be looking that way. Just play around with it, see what looks best for you. I think it looks very nice for a tame tree, but it also still looks very organic. So I'm going to be building just this one, and then I will be speeding ahead and building all the rest around the lake that I think. You just build them where you like. So as you can see, I've now got some hanging trees over my river. I've got some structured trees, and it's starting to come together like a temple garden. On the left side of the path here, we're just going to be putting a pathway of trees. We're going to be building some shrubs. And then for the plants, we will be using just the small grass, the double tall grass, the large ferns, and the small ferns. One thing you will notice in Japanese temple gardens is they don't actually have flowers. Flowers are a very modern concept in a lot of temple gardens. So you'll find the newer ones might have flowers, but all the older style gardens will typically just have the green kind of leafy shrubs. So that's what you really want to be kind of trying to replicate in your build. You want to be using more leafy plants rather than flowery plants. So I'm just building another tree here. This one I'm kind of building like a normal tree, so I'm just making the branches come out. I will be doing the exact same thing as the other tree, and what I always do with my trees is I cover the branches first and then I work around the shape and work the leaves with how I want to go. I will be speeding it up ahead here, and I will be doing this whole pathway here in a mix of different trees and different shrubs and things like that. So as you can see now, I've built all my trees on the left side of the path here. We are going to be going through now, and I'll show you how to do the shrubs. The other thing you want to be doing, if it looks a little bit empty to the side at all, just build the land up a little bit more and kind of terraform like I have here. Very easy to do. Just grab your grass block and then you want to be kind of making round, natural looking shapes. If you want a good reference, simply look at the hillsides or plains or things like that in Minecraft. It's actually quite natural looking what they do. So you just want to be trying to replicate that with your building. So as you can see here, that was a little stone stepping pathway that I've built. That's one way that you can be building a bridge in your temple garden. I've also got to the far right of the garden another little archway bridge that I'll show you a bit later on when I'm working. Okay, so we're going to be starting to work on our shrubs now. I find the best thing to do, because they are meant to be structured looking, because the Japanese temple garden workers would be shaping them, I find the best thing to do is actually to make them quite boxy. So normally I will do, if you want to make a small shrub, I will do just one leaf block and it looks like a little tiny cube. If you want to be doing quite a big looking shrub, I would do 2x2 for a cube. And then if I'm wanting a flat but big looking shrub, I will do the 2x1. No. But like I showed with the birch block before, you want to be kind of, see, that's what I mean there. So what you want to be doing, I'm just using a mix of the spruce, the oak and the birch. I'm just going to be speeding up through this bit a lot because it is quite time consuming to show you every little thing about how I'm gardening. It's all about repetition. You just want to be going through, placing blocks, see what looks good for you. If something's looking too bushy, you just want to kind of cut it down and replace it with other plants. If something's not looking bushy enough, see what you think looks aesthetically pleasing in the place, like how I said these gardens are meant to be aesthetically pleasing. You just want to be replicating like real life temple gardens. So as you can see now, I'm going through and placing my ferns, my small ferns, my double tall grass and my grass. You just want to be spacing it out very evenly amongst the build, making it look natural. If you've got two ferns next to each other, that's fine. There can be some repetition and things like that. You just don't want it to be continuous, simple rows. You'll see a lot of Minecraft builds online might have their garden designs as this row of this flowers, this row of this flowers, this row of this. It's not very natural. Some gardens are like that, and if I ever design a garden that's like you, I'll definitely tell you so. But in a Japanese garden, that is not what you want to be doing. You want it looking as natural as you can be, so repetition is not key in these gardens. So yeah, I will just keep speeding through now, and then once this is finished, we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so as you can see here, that was just me showing you what the waterfall looked like. But what we're going to be working on now, I'm just going to quickly show you, if you wanted to add a little bit more detail to the ground because you're not liking all the grass, the best thing to do, grab some coarse dirt and some podzol And just simply around the base of the tree, you just want to be scattered, kind of removing a few blocks. It kind of looks like if you look at the ground covering of Japanese temple gardens, you will find that they are very leafy, like because you have leaves falling off the tree, so that kind of replicates that look that you're going for there. So what we're going to be working on now is a sand garden that's like at the front of my temple garden. So you simply want to be just deleting some blocks that are in kind of a circle shape. Work with whatever pathway or whatever you're working with. Just try and make it look as natural as you can. You then want to be putting some stone blocks in here. I like to use a mixture of stone, and then I actually grab a skull stone. If you don't have a plugin that has the skull, I simply use a command block and get the give like link thing to get a schematica for a skull. If you have a server that has skull schematicas, that's great. If you don't, there's nothing really you can replicate to create a small stone. So I do apologize. The best you could probably do if you do want to replicate a smaller stone is just to use the stone button. It's probably the closest you can do if you can't grab a head. So yeah, the other thing you want to be doing, I just like to place a few fence posts around, just kind of spacey, not so perfect. Just kind of making them look organically and spaced out. And as you saw on the front, I did a different variation of this garden where I actually had some grass and stones and my tree in there. A lot of the time, you can do that. You'll find that these kind of styles that I'm building here will have little grass things like that. If you're building the meditation type one, which I will show you at the end of the video how to quickly do one, you'll find that they won't have grass at all. It will just be sand and then these stones on top. So as you can see, our temple garden is starting to come together a lot now. It's starting to look much more like a actual temple garden. So what I'm going to be doing now is just going ahead and decorating this little paved area here with some trees as well. And then I will be slowing the video down to show you how to do a cherry blossom type tree, which I didn't show you before. So as you can see, I've just finished all my trees there. I've also put in some shrubs, and I've also put some stones and little stones around the garden and gone ahead and put them on the left hand side as well, just because the stones and little stones also, like I said, stones are important. You want to make sure you have them in your garden. So what I do to make my cherry blossom trees is I use a mixture of pink wool and pink glass. If you really wanted to be pedantic and add another block in there to give even more texture because you're trying to make it look natural, you could use pink clay. Probably the closest you can get as well to another block that you could use. Like I said earlier, I like to just patchily place it around the tree trunks, kind of make it look natural. With my cherry blossom trees, I always make sure that I use dark oak wood just because cherry blossoms do have a very dark wood color, so that's why I use the dark oak. And then as you can see, I will build my wool first and then I will go through and delete off the glass blocks. So now we're going to be working on the trees over there, which I will skip through. That I'm going to be filling it up with the same trees as before. but we'll be working on this area here. I'm going to be kind of building like a bamboo grove. So you just want to be getting some sugarcane and also a water bucket. What you want to do is where you have terraformed the land, simply put a hole underneath, put a water under the grass there, and then put another block next to it there. You can then place your sugarcane up on top. I like to build mine quite high to look like natural bamboo. You don't want it only 3 blocks high, it's not going to get the desired effect. And just, yeah, so sparingly just do this around the area. It'll look quite nice like a natural bamboo grove when it's quite bushy. So I will continue doing this and then we will speed up ahead and I will show you how to do the trees that are just to my left. So as you can see, I've got a nice bamboo looking grove going on here. I'm now going to be building another type of tree here. So this is kind of like a slanted spruce tree. As you can see, it's on an angle similar to the ones I built around the lake, but it's a bit taller. I'm also going to be putting the spruce leaves around just mostly the top bit in kind of a messy cluster as I'm showing. And then I will sparingly put a couple of blocks down the bottom here and there just to make it look like the plant does have some lower leaf levels. So you just want to be replicating this with all the other trees as well. So as you can see, I've just sped up ahead because I don't have time to be going through everyone. Again, like I said, if you'd like a more detailed look at every little detail that I have done, comment down below and I can do a video on that for you. So as you can see, my Japanese temple garden is mostly done now. We're going to be working on a few other little things here that you will find a lot. The first one you'll find a lot in Japanese temple gardens is actually lilies and lily pads. You will see them a lot in gardens. They're very common over in Japan. So you want to be just sparingly putting the lily pads all over the lake. You don't want them too cluttered. It's good to have a little cluster here and there like I have, but you want them kind of sparingly. I'm putting a few extra ones around the bridge area just because it is a more secluded area. They probably have them more close compared to a bigger lake area. And the other thing that is also essential in Japanese temple gardens that I forgot to mention earlier was actually an island in the middle of your pond. If you are doing a pond style Japanese temple garden, it probably is quite important that you do a little island. You will find them a lot in bigger pond type Japanese gardens. I'm just building a little tree on mine exactly like the spruce ones that I've sparingly placed around my lake here. I'm also going to be decorating the bottom just with some stone and some shrubs and things like that. So as you can see, this is my Japanese temple garden mostly done now. It has a lot of detail. When you are looking from afar, it actually looks really nice. It's got that nice bushy look that you would see in Japanese temple gardens. Like I said, you don't have to do everything I've done here. If you want, just do little bits here and then. I've only done quite a large build to show you what it can look like when you do a temple garden on quite a large scale. I think it actually looks really nice, and it does have the desired effect of a temple garden. There are a few things you can't do in Minecraft, things like doing the little, the sandstone lantern structures that you see, things like that. But most of the plants you can replicate. I've only done a few here because I didn't want to go into too much detail. But right now I'm going to go ahead and show you two smaller smaller scales of what you could do if you wanted only a smaller garden. So the first one I will be showing you is a little courtyard garden. If you go and have a look on Google, anything like that, you'll see that there are inner courtyards and temples or things like that in between buildings. So this is simply going to be showing how you can do my garden that I just did, but on a smaller scale. So I will be using oak for some really crappy hallways that I'll be doing for my little courtyard square. And then the inside I will be filling off a tree, some water, and just simply some shrubs and rocks, things like that. So as you can see, here is my courtyard garden. I think it looks quite nice. It's very cute, and it is basically a smaller scale of what you would see in my bigger garden. So the next one we're going to go on to here is how to do a Zen garden. So like I said at the beginning of the video, this is going to be an example, a very quick one, of how you can build these Zen gardens, which is just using sand and rocks to represent your water. The other thing is I'm just doing a 2-block high fence to kind of just match the colouring of my fence that I've got next to me. You would want to be doing higher than this in the style that I've got around my temple garden. I'm just being really lazy here because I'm just showing you an example. So I'm more also just putting up the planks here, the logs, sorry, just to have more so like a barrier for my blocks, an outline per se. Also, the best thing I like to do, if you just grab some stair blocks and you place them like this, and the trapdoors, oops, there, I actually find it looks quite nice and looks like a mini fence. Because the thing is, you're going to want this oak platform there, probably about 3 blocks wide, including the fence. And then with putting the little trapdoor fencing there, it kind of looks like a little step down bit where people's feet would go while they're sitting. So if you didn't know, the way that these gardens work is that you will typically always have one stone that's completely hidden behind a block that you cannot see it. So they say that the best way the way that proves that someone has enlightenment is that you would be sitting there and you would be able to meditate so hard that you can see the one stone that is hidden. So that's how you do one of those gardens. So yes, thank you for watching today. This was my tutorial, a very detailed long one on how to do a Japanese garden tutorial. I think it turned out quite nice. It's probably not my best of works, but it will give you guys a good starter on how you could do a detailed build like this. As I say, practice makes perfect. You'll get better through time and you'll be able to do things yourself and learn better. But yes, thank you so much for watching today. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and thank you. Bye.